1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This happens again, and so this happens every once in a while. It's one of like the most annoying things that could actually happen on eBay, especially for eBay, just because eBay is definitely the most strict platform there is. Poshmark, Depop, they have, like their customer service is good, but if you make a mistake in Depop or Poshmark, I feel like they give you a little more slack in terms of like canceling orders or people's returns. eBay, they will penalize you. Like if you have too many and you don't sell enough, or you don't sell a lot of items within a small period of time, people returning stuff or saying that they didn't like the item, that you didn't describe it properly, is probably one of the worst things that could happen to your account. And so earlier this week, I got INAD, which is what they call a item that you apparently didn't describe properly, right? So either the listing has an error in it, the person who purchased it got the item, and then they're saying that there was something wrong in the listing, so they want to return it. I do buyer pays return, so if someone wants to return something, whether because it didn't fit, or it was like a bought by mistake, which is a really strange thing. How can you buy something by mistake? But I guess that happens. That happens at least once a month for me. That's kind of frustrating. But an INAD, so an item not as described, essentially is what it is. There's a ding in your account when that happens. So starting off, it's kind of something that you definitely have to pay close attention to, just because you are learning. And when I was starting to do this whole eBay thing, I really try to really do my best to describe the items as the most accurately as possible. One thing that is really difficult to do, though, is when you really can't do much of. So one thing that, but the one thing that is kind of tricky, I came to understand, was the fact that sometimes the images, the pictures that you take might not represent the item accurately. So this is something that I came across a few times. I sell clothing, and there's going to be a range of colors and patterns for every piece of clothing. So like making sure that the color is correct is probably like the biggest thing that you should take a look at. And it's the thing that I really try to improve in my photography for each item, just because it's like if the person who wants to buy the item sees the item exactly how it actually is, the chances that that item is going to be returned because you didn't describe it properly are going to go way down, right? So when I first started, I think most people start with, and a lot of people stay with photographing everything with their iPhone, and that was really good. You can pretty much handle your whole business on the phone, and that's great. For me, I did that for a few months, and then I kept running into and stumbling into, like, sometimes the items would be really difficult to photograph, because I would look at the picture on my phone and then look at the item, and my phone would just like not register the color whatsoever. It would either be like way too blue or way too green. I can't remember exactly, or like the red sometimes get messed up as well. And I kept trying to, sometimes one of the tricks that I was doing is like, if the item was too blue, usually the blue colors were the ones that were throwing the iPhone camera off. So I would put my hand out and it would like adjust the color, and then I would take it away, and within like the time that I would switch over, I would try to take the picture of the item. And it would just, you know, delay the whole process of photographing items, and I would take like way more time than I really have to on like photographing like a polo shirt, you know what I mean? And if I have to take 3-4 times the amount of time to photograph one item, like that's a big waste of time. So I started to like think about like other ways to photograph the items that would describe and show the item much more accurately, which is why I had seen a lot of videos online about people using like an actual DSLR or like a camera or like a point and shoot, and for me early on that was kind of it didn't seem necessary, because it seemed like you had to do a lot more steps for you to be able to list something, right? Because if you've listed on your phone, everything's there, boom, you're ready to go, add it to your to the listing on eBay. However, if you are using a camera, there's the whole system of like getting the SD card into a computer, putting it on a folder, and then there's like obviously a lot more steps that goes along with that. However, I felt like those steps could actually be, I could do those steps really quickly, just because, you know, I am a photographer as well, so it kind of like I could figure out a way to make those processes faster. And so I rethought the whole idea of the iPhone and using the iPhone camera to photograph all my items. And I started to use the DSLR that I have. So I started photographing everything with my DSLR, and kind of having the white balance be accurate to the item and to the environment, right? And it really like completely changed the way that I photograph items. It's much faster. The colors are much more accurate. The flexibility that I have in terms of like being able to create and photograph the item the way that it actually is, it actually let me do that, and that was really, really great. That was, I think I started doing that probably like 8 months after I started reselling, and it was definitely a little, I should have done it a lot earlier, but you know, within that whole period of time I was figuring out my whole photography situation as well, in terms of how do I lay things down, what lights do I need, and everything else. So everything kind of fell into place, and I think right now I have a very, very, very good setup in terms of how to photograph my items, because again, the photos that I take, I think, are a big reason why my items get sold. This is one item that actually got returned earlier this week, because the color accuracy wasn't right. So I got the return notice on my phone, and it give you like that little sound that's not like the cha-ching sound, and I'm like, oh god, like that's kind of like a haunting sound, right? If you sell on eBay, you kind of know that sound, and it's kind of like, what is it? Is it a message, or is it like a return? And so I picked up the phone, and it's like the buyer had taken a picture of the item, and I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, is that really what the item looks like? I couldn't remember what the item really looks like. It had been a while since I had photographed the item. It was pretty recent, so I was kind of surprised that I couldn't remember exactly the color. And when I looked at the photo that they sent me, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is not my, like, this is not, you're doing something to my photo to make it justifiable for you to return my item. Like that was my first impression in the whole like initially, and I was like, wow, like how is this possible? How does like my image not look like the actual item? And a couple of days ago, the item got returned. It was just a pair of polo corduroy pants. Corduroy pants, really nice item. Good kind of fall winter item. vintage. That's the old tag on it. 100% cotton, really good. But as you can see, it's, you know, it's not, it's, the color is not like crazy loud. It's kind of like, it's a little, not faded, but it's not super loud, right? So I looked at the listing, and the color of the listing was, it kind of looked like that. I'm gonna put it up on the screen, and as you can tell, the colors just don't add up. So at that point I was like, wow, I really messed that up. How did I mess that up? Sometimes when I'm editing the images, I really try not to add saturation to the images, just so like the images don't give off this like super bright color, because like I didn't feel like it was the right way to go. But for some reason the camera, or I must have done something to that set of images on that day or something, because I usually just like auto correct on Camera Raw. When I import all my files, I usually just do an auto edit on all the pictures, and then I export them, so I don't individually go in and edit the images until probably later on if they're just a little too dark. But in terms of colors, I try not to really mess with the colors, just, you know. But for some reason I do believe I did a little color correction just to see what that would kind of look like, and that's probably one of the items that caught up that whole listing day. And the saturation, as you can see, is like way more intense than the actual pair. I don't know, you can see like this compared to that, much different. You know, so like the customer was correct. I was just like, I don't know, it was kind of funny because like I had to like almost like be like, wow, you were completely wrong. Like I was assuming something. I was assuming like the color pair, I thought the customer was lying to me. Like that's literally what I thought, like off the rip. And I was just like, wow, maybe I need to like calm down every time I get a return, just because, you know, I could be wrong. Maybe it's my error, right? And you know, it's kind of funny because we're talking about having things depicted like the most accurately, but like that was, again, like the color isn't correct, right? So you know, there's always going to be the instance where like even if you are using like a DSLR, like you're still gonna, errors still happen along the way, especially if you're photographing like hundreds of items throughout the week. You know, one or two are definitely gonna slip. So I got that one, and yeah, I mean, they're gonna get their money, they're gonna get their shipping money back. You know, it's a cost of doing business type of thing. And I'm definitely not gonna be editing the saturation on my items ever again. And I'm not gonna look over the other stuff, it's too much. But it's just like a lesson learned, I guess, for that one. It had happened before. I did have another return similar to that one, but I feel like that one, I was justifiably correct, I feel. The item was described as brown. It was a pair of brown shoes, and the person bought them, and then like a day or two after they got them, they're like, hey, these are actually burgundy, not brown. And then on your listing, on the listing title, it says brown, but like these are more reddish burgundy. They're a pair of dress shoes, right? And I was like, oh my god, seriously? Like, I don't know, brown is a very generic term, right, when describing an item, and burgundy is so specific. And like, so adding like the very specific color to the item, I don't know, some people like are really to the word of what you're trying to say, whether they want to, like, you know, if they want to return it or not. So I was kind of, that one I didn't like that one, because on top of that, they took a picture of the item and then took a screenshot of the item on how they saw it online, right? So they essentially screenshotted my own pictures listing, compared it to the one that they had. So they had it like side by side, and I was like, did you seriously see my listing like this? Because like the image that they showed for my listing was completely different than what it looks like in like real life. Like on the screens, if you look at my listing versus the picture of the screenshot of my own listing on their picture that they sent me, it doesn't even look close to it. It looks like a picture from like a monitor from like the early 2000s. It was like blue and it was like all grainy and it was weird, and I was like, they were like, yeah, I saw this is the picture that I saw, and it looks nothing like the actual shoe that I bought. And I'm like, oh my god, like, if you're literally looking at items on your computer with this monitor in these color settings, I don't know how you're living. Like, it doesn't look remotely close to what the publisher, like the person who's trying to show you something, even looks like. So that one really messed me up, because I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe like you're altering the image, or you're really old or something, and you have like, you're shopping from like a desktop from like 2002 or something. So like that one was really frustrating. And I don't know, it was a pair of shoes that I had for a while, so I was like, when I sold them, I was like, yes, they're out of here. They sold like for a decent price, you know, like I didn't like discount them and then, you know, lost money. So like I got decent money for them, and then I had to get them returned. And on top of that, I had to pay the shipping to have them returned to me, or like the shipping that they paid to get to them. And I was like, wow, like, so it was really frustrating. The shoes came back, and I was like, if those shoes aren't perfect to how I sent them, like, I'm gonna fight this. And I got the item back, and then I emailed eBay about it. I was like, hey, like, you know, the customer shared, and you know, after they shared the image and they showed that, I kind of just stopped talking, and I was just like, okay, let them do the return. I'm not gonna like fight them. I'm not gonna be like, hey, that doesn't look like my picture. I'm not gonna start accusing a customer of doing certain things just because it's not a good look. Like, you know what I mean? So like, even in my email towards eBay, I was like, hey, you know, I was trying to keep it positive and professional. So like, I didn't even like accuse the customer of this. And to be honest, I don't know what happened to that. Like, I emailed them that, and I just didn't want to pay for the shipping there, and I didn't want it to be like an INAD, because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, obviously the customer is not accurately looking at my item, so like, can I really get an INAD if the customer is looking at a monitor that's like not correct? I don't know. That was a tricky one. To be honest, after I sent the email a day or two after, I was just like, I should have just ate it. I should have just not even worried about it and just moved on, because I don't know, like, fighting eBay and like doing this whole back and forth. I tried to find a phone number for eBay, try to figure out like, how can I talk to someone so I can get it. Like, I like talking on the phone to people just because you can get things done much faster than like this whole email thing. And like the day after, it's just like, I should have just left it alone. I should have just ignored it, give them the money, and move on. Because like, now it's taking like space in my head. Like, it's like occupying, you know, spatial, like, it's just like energy. And for some reason, that's like worth more to me than the $10 that it was worth that I didn't want to pay, and the INAD on top of that. But luckily, I do sell enough items that the INAD is not going to be detrimental. You know, you can have a couple INADs and be okay. So I was just like, okay, let's just be perfect the next, you know, quarter, the next 6 months. Let's keep being perfect. I'm top rated right now. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, top rated. So like, I'm definitely going to keep that intact. So yeah, I mean, INADs, you know, that happened earlier that happened like to finish the year 2025. So you know, hopefully that doesn't happen again anytime soon. So yeah, so that you know, getting a camera, switching from an iPhone to a real camera, definitely again helped have a better color, and it made my whole process faster. You know, obviously you're gonna make blunders here and there. You know, the colors, like I just said. And one of the things also, going back to the shoes, now with the shoe thing, I've kind of stopped adding the color to my description, the title of my description, just because like things like that can happen. Like imagine, I was thinking of forward, and I was like, okay, maybe if I, on my listing title, I put blue, right? And then like the person gets it, and then they're like, this is more navy than blue. I'm like, that could happen. Like that easily could happen. So like now when I'm like writing my titles, I'm not even adding the color anymore. I'm like, it's so apparent. Like the picture will tell you the color, and the pictures are 99% accurate to the color as I possibly can make them. So like I'm pretty confident with that. So me adding like verbiage in terms of what color it is, I feel like it's another thing that like the customer can attach to get a return, for them not to pay for the return, you know, if that's something they want to do. So you know, I stop, if the item is gray and it's like really dark gray, I'm not gonna add dark gray, because the person can be like, well, this is black, it's not dark gray, it's not light enough. Like, you know, you can see how like certain examples can kind of like come up with adding a color to the title. I think eBay does require you to like add a generic color to certain things. I do add it there, but in terms of the title, I try to like not add that information. I'm just like, if the shirt is red, look at it in the picture, because like that's where you're gonna figure out the color. And I think eBay's algorithm also can just tell, you know, like what color the item is based on the color. So like I'm not really just concerned about someone typing in red at the end of the search, and not showing up because I don't have the color red under. I think all the red shirts, if there's a red version, it's gonna show up if they add red to the title, I mean to their search bar. So yeah, would I recommend people not do that? I don't know. I just, for me, not adding the color to the title seems like the right way to go. Definitely seems like the right way to go. So yeah, so you know, this is like, yeah, so this is my third video, just sharing my experience reselling, the start of the year 2026. Yeah, so you know, so this is the third video. Of me sharing, you know, my journey as a so yeah. So this is the third video of me sharing my experience selling clothing on eBay, Depop, and Poshmark, and you know, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pretty much talking into the big vastness of the internet at this point. You know, whether people are watch it, I have no idea. I think it's good for me though. I think it's good to kind of like just think over things, and it like solidifies changes that I'm making. And for some, I feel like definitely sharing is gonna make me a better reseller in the long term, because I can, like, you know, analyze what I'm doing, and then you know, whoever's watching, you know, maybe you might take a thing or two from someone that's like not, I don't think I would consider myself an expert, but you know, you can hear like my own blunders, my own story, and what this whole thing is all about. So you know, if you like hearing someone just chit chat about certain topics about reselling, you know, this is what this place is all about. And appreciate everything. You know, I'm really lucky that this is something that I can I can do and make money. And I was, you know, it became really exciting halfway through last year that, you know, everything was working out the way that I was hoping. You know, there was definitely a lot of points where I was just like, this is gonna work, you know. And luckily for me, so far so good, right? So yeah, if you like this, you know, hit the if you like content like, you know, if you like contents like this, you know. Hi, so my name is Rodrigo. So yeah, you know, if you like just kind of chit chat, if you like chit chat, kind of just kind of listening to another reseller, if you like if you like people who just chit chat about reselling and, you know, their struggles and things that they're doing and working or not working, you know, this is what this place is all about. And I will continue to make videos. Again, this is still new, making videos like this, so, you know, it is entertaining. Editing is, again, this is just like bare minimum editing is pretty much what you're going to be seeing here. If you're just kind of listening, this is pretty much perfect. It's mostly an audio type of thing, but yeah. And if this is the first time you see this video, if this is the first time you see this video, I share and will be sharing my story in my second year reselling on eBay, Depop, and Poshmark. I sell clothing, shoes, menswear, mostly men's right now, but also, you know, a couple women's pieces. Always trying to learn more and more about women's items, which, you know, I see also go for big bucks. And so if you want to keep hearing this, make sure you hit the follow button. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know you don't want to do this. I know you don't want to do this. I know you don't want to do this, but trust me, this is the way to go. This is what you want to do to make your listing sell much faster. What else can I do? Yeah, look at this shirt. I just found this shirt yesterday. Pretty dope. Nothing crazy, just Gandalf. The back hit, pretty sweet. Had to get it. Had to get it. Looks pretty dope, pretty clean. I mean, it's not a crazy shirt or anything. I just kind of liked it. Gandalf, probably one of my favorite movie series for sure. For sure, one of my favorite movie series. So when I saw that, I was like, dope. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I also got this little baby Patagonia. Look at that. Nice. For free. Look at that. Nice. My kid was too small for this one, so I was like, oh, definitely gonna snatch that up. What else can I do? So this is the thing that literally made me. So this is literally the thing why. So this is the biggest reason why my listings sell, I think, for sure. I love taking. Okay, so I love doing everything off my phone, right? And making listings and selling on eBay is perfect for that. And you can definitely do all that from your phone, take the pictures, list it, perfect. And the first 6 months, that's pretty much what I was doing. Just boom, off my phone, list it, great. But there is a much better way to do it, just because but later on I figured out that using a camera is actually, yeah, it's actually better. And it's actually faster too. And your images will actually so this video, you're gonna find a little more editing in this video than the last video. The other one was a little more bloggy, which is cool. This one I kind of wanted to share a little bit more on this video. So this video is going to be a little bit different than the last one. I don't know if you saw the last one, which is more like bloggy style, just sharing a couple of things that I found earlier in the week. This one I just want to talk about one thing that kind of improved my way of selling, and kind of like how it's. This video is a little bit different than the last one, where I was sharing a couple things that I found. Today I kind of want to talk about one thing that actually improved my listings, and how I'm thinking about that all the way until right now. Yeah, and if this is the first video that you see, I share my journey as a second year reseller. I'm going to be talking about, if this is the first video you see, I will be sharing my journey and things that I've learned along the way as a second year clothing seller on eBay, Depop, and Poshmark. So if you like just kind of like people talking about reselling as you're working in the background, mostly audio, this is the perfect place for you. That's pretty much what's going to happen here. So welcome to the channel. Yeah, so welcome to the channel. If this is the first video you see, I'm Rodrigo, and I sell clothing on Depop, Poshmark, and eBay. This is my second year doing this, second full calendar year, and I just pretty much will be sharing things that I've done before, things that I'll be doing in the future, and pretty much how things are going so far, and showing things that I buy, and things like that. So if you like that kind of just chit-chatting, having fun, relaxing, this is kind of like this is perfect. This is the place for you. Alright guys, see you in the next one. So yeah, that's it, that's how you can get better, I feel, every time.